Greetings, fellow scribes! Welcome back to the archive. This video is part of my series on the individual tribes of Werewolf the Apocalypse. I will be going into each tribe covering the same basic details, their history and mythology, their biases, strengths, weaknesses, and a bit of information about their camps, their sub-organizations within the tribes. Now, this is going to be a bit of a boilerplate for all of these, so I don't have to redo a video every single one. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we talk about this tribe. There are stereotypes for all of the tribes, and the Wendigo have the unfortunate situation that they match their stereotype in many, many ways. But, we must, of course, talk about them from the beginning. And when I spoke about the Uktena, I kind of touched on a lot of the shared history of them. They came over the Bering Land Bridge and settled on the northern areas of North America. For them, this was a very appropriate area. Now, at some point between when they were in Asia, Siberia, that area, and when they came to North America, their totem changed. At one time, their totem was Sasquatch. And as they came over, their totem changed to Wendigo. And no one can find the totem Sasquatch. So, one of the great mysteries with the Wendigo is what happened to this original totem. And there's different arguments. There's that Wendigo killed Sasquatch. There's Sasquatch is Wendigo, just a different view of him. And various similar things. They just know there is no Sasquatch totem anymore. And only Wendigo. So that mystery remains for them. Now, they hold one key event, though, as being a huge deal. The thing that doomed the Croatoan 500 years after this event. And that is the Cahokia civilization. You see, there's these mounds called Cahokia Mounds. And, there are evidence of this civilization pretty far around North America. But the center of it was at Cahokia. And the Wendigo looked at this. And they saw something wrong with it. Now, for them, they saw the structures, the building was going up fast. As if the pattern spiders of the Weaver were doing the construction, not the humans. And so they approached middle brother Croatoan, since this was in Croatoan's lands, and they said, "Hey, there's something wrong here. Are you going to do anything about it?" Croatoan looked at it and said, yes, this is bad, but they will soon outstrip the resources. They will hunt the game too much, and they will go back to the ways they should follow. Just wait. Wendigo wasn't happy with this, so Wendigo went to Uktena and said, "Hey, look at this. There's something wrong." Uktena went, looked, saw that these people worshipped snake-like entities that were similar in depiction to their own totem. And they thought that might be kin, and they were, no, we agree, there is something wrong, but let us first take time and look at and research this and see how their serpent spirits interact with Uktena. They might be part of the same brood. And Wendigo said, no, I'm going to deal with this myself if none of you are going to do anything about it. And so Wendigo came in, killed the people, fought their way down to where the serpent spirits were, and killed them. Killed these spirits that reeked of the worm. And to the Wendigo, this single event, created the strife between the three brothers. That after this, Croatoan, Uktena, and Wendigo were never as close as they once were. They no longer interacted with the harmony they once did. And so, when the Eater of Souls came to Roanoke, Croatoan didn't ask the other brothers for help, because Croatoan no longer trusted them. And Croatoan died. Little brother died as a tribe trying to stop the Eater of Souls. And the Wendigo blame themselves. They think that if they could have just convinced middle and older brother to act instead of taking it on themselves, that it wouldn't have created the rift, and that Croatoan would still have been around. And they believe that if Croatoan had still been around, when the Wormbringers came, when the Wormcomers came, the three tribes could have acted as one and stopped the colonization of the New World. Because that's the thing. They absolutely believed that had to happen. And they believe that it is their fault that the Wormcomers came. So, yes, they blame themselves and are angry about it. Now, fast forward to the 1890s with the ghost dance movement, where the belief that if enough Indians did this dance, the power of it would bring back the buffalo, raise up the dead, and drive all the Europeans back into the Atlantic. And this, as a movement, has infiltrated very heavily into the Wendigo culture. It's something that resonated strongly with them, and they promoted it. But with these, we're dealing with the camps of the Wendigo, of which we have 3 camps. The Warpath is the camp that just wants to kill all the Westerners. Fight them, drive them back, do whatever it takes to just make them not want to be here anymore. And then, once they've done that, they will solidify their strength, and then they will invade Europe and show the Westerners what it was like for them to come to North America. By showing them, by taking everything of theirs in the same way that the worm bringers and worm comers took all their stuff. Then you have the ghost dance, which philosophically are descended from the philosophy of Wovoka. And they want to do the same thing, but through mystical means. Although, the big thing is, they just want to recapture the Pure Lands. Get rid of everything that's Western, and just keep it all to the Native Americans. And the third camp is called the Sacred Hoop. And their beliefs are more, look, we can't get rid of these people. They're already here. They're too well entrenched. We can't get rid of them. What we can do is we can educate them. And so we will approach this through teaching them about Native American ways, Native American culture. They're the reasons why, powwows that allow Westerners in are a thing. There's a reason why there's Native American flute festivals and museums about Native American cultures. They also have another really big duty that they don't tell anyone about. And that is keeping the ghost dance and the warpath at each other's throats. Because they believe that if these two camps stopped and realized how similar their goals were, they'd put aside their differences and work together. And then the war would start. And the Sacred Hoop have seen how that war ends. They saw it at Wounded Knee. And they don't want that war. And so their job, their task that they've taken on themselves is to do everything they can to keep that from happening. So far, they're doing okay with that. But many of them are getting older, and the newer Wendigo, the younger Wendigo, are not as keen on taking up their philosophies as they used to be. And so the Sacred Hoop as a camp is very much at risk of dying out. But of course, when you're talking about traditional ways, this also leads into discussions of the litany. And we'll start with the first law of the litany, so we can talk about how the Wendigo treat their metis. First law of the litany, as everyone knows, is Guru shall not mate with Guru. And then a bit further down is the rule, suffer not thy people to tend thy sickness. And these relate to each other. You see, the Wendigo, how they deal with the individuals who parent a metis, they'll deal with that on a case-by-case basis. There's many reasons it could happen, some justifiable, some not. But they'll deal with it as appropriate. For the metis cub itself, first thing that they do is they look at the cub and go, can it support itself? Can it function on its own? If the deformity is such that the cub could not live on its own, that it would be a burden, they kill it. If, however, the cub could function, function as an effective member of society, then it's allowed to live. And such a cub grows up among the Wendigo. Like many menace, learns the culture deeply. But there's another element to this. The Wendigo will look at it and go, it might be an abomination of Gaia's law, but it's not European. That's literally how they think. And of course, every guru is needed. Who cares if this one can't have kids? So, while they don't coddle them, they do treat their metis decently. And, with that, we come into the other discussion of the litany. The other big law that the Wendigo concern themselves with. You shall not eat of the flesh of humans. Alright, so, the Wendigo have never, as a tribe, considered cannibalism a thing. They don't eat humans as a tribe. But cannibalism is enough of a issue with them because of how close their connection is to their totem, and they do find that sometimes a guru gets a little too excited and eats a person, or gets too hungry and the only food nearby is a person. And so they deal with it. And how they deal with it is actually strictly handled. First, if a Wendigo believes another Wendigo's engaged in cannibalism, they let the elders know. They find the eldest guru there, the ranking Wendigos, and let them know. And then those Wendigo meet in a council, and they decide what's going to happen. And then they contact the nearest all Wendigo pack. And that pack is sent out with orders to either kill or capture the targeted Wendigo. And if it's to kill, they kill it quick. If it's to capture, they capture it best they can. And another important thing is they tell no one. They do not tell anyone not Wendigo. Because they need to keep this to themselves. They need to clean their own house. And, if they're capturing another Wendigo, this is because the council has viewed that Wendigo is sufficiently uniquely skilled or significant enough that he can't die necessarily. And so he's brought in for a very specific rite. The rite of the second birth. And what this rite does is it purges all the worm taint from eating human from the guru. It also completely strips them of all renown and glory and rank. They are stripped down to being a cub again, and they have to go through a rite of passage, all that once more, because they're now a new person, completely new as far as the spirits are concerned. And so this new person has to deal with all that, and they might have lost any skills or spirit abilities or gifts that are why they were deemed worthy of this. And that's a risk for that council to deal with. But the Wendigo deal with cannibalism in-house for a number of reasons. But the biggest is, whenever someone starts eating people, and there's a Wendigo pack nearby, everyone automatically assumes it's the Wendigo. Like, there are no Red Talons who could be doing it. There are no Bonars that might, or Silent Striders that might. Nope, it's gotta be those who worship the cannibal spirit. And so, the Wendigo have to deal with the stigma caused by their own totem. That is misunderstood. Because, Wendigo never ate man flesh, or never sat down for a big table full of man roast. Wendigo eats the hearts. Now, there are stories of people who would eat other people, and that were called Wendigo by various Native American tribes. But, whether those are actually referencing Guru, who had gone that way, or spirits, it's uncertain. But what is known is this specter of cannibalism follows the Wendigo. And so they deal with it. But, that is all my discussion for this week on the Wendigo. The next video in this series will be on the Children of Gaia. Pretty much the exact opposite of the Wendigo. So, until then, if you like this video, please click like and subscribe down below. And, of course, hit the little bell icon so you can get notifications. And until next video, I just want you all to remember to have fun and keep gaming.